Right, hopefully you can hear me. I'm very aware of the sound on here, and tech today has been like, it won't, my computer won't let me open it now. Oh. Anyway, enough of that. What I wanted to share, I was hoping to look at it on here, and I don't think it'll allow me, was I tried to share a post today about a song that kept coming into my head. So in the shower this morning, I kept hearing the Nolan sisters, and I hadn't thought about them for years. My mum had their records, and as a kid, I used to listen to them. So I put this in a post, and I put the lyrics to one of the songs, and a picture, and I've put this up. It's on my Instagram, I think. It's Instagram wouldn't share it. Qigong, Facebook would not allow me to post it, saying it was asking questions about passwords. I was like, that's nothing to do with what the post is. So I've kind of queried it, thinking, why is the tech picking up, like, because I've put questions. Anyway, interesting how funny and what they say you can't share, because this post was kind of sharing about stuff for enlightenment, about death, rebirth, and my own memory. So I was thinking, why, what is significant? The words to the lyrics is actually not by them, but the obviously I was thinking of the version by them, and saying, like, anyone who was a kid remembers Watership Down knows what it was like, how tearful this was. This song brings back those memories, and the lyrics, bright up, it's probably better if I say it. Bright eyes burning like fire, bright eyes, how could we close and fail? How could the light that burned so brightly suddenly burn so pale? Bright eyes. So you're probably familiar with that. And obviously, please excuse my poor voice, in my throat, the way it is at the moment. And I am not here for singing, for my singing voice. But it was saying, oh gosh, I can't do it from memory now. And when it was coming through, there was that, and then I'm in the mood for dancing, romancing, and then another song. And I was like, had these rolling around in my head while my brain was in theta. And I was a little bit taken aback. This life is about the messages, how we see the synchronicities with the lead up to Samhain. The veil becomes thinner is how people talk about it in terminology. Now, whether you use this as a permission slip to get into the flow of those that have been before. Now, I'm not here to change your thoughts or beliefs, but I'll tell you my perspective on this. It might be different to lots of people. To me, the thought forms, the energy, the essence, and I mean, I talk about past lives all the time, is the past life we're most in the frequency of, because time is beyond, the way we experience it is linearly. However, outside of gravity, time and space does not exist. So those persons, those loved ones that have passed, and in my post I'd sort of said, this is like making me think of the grieving and that my family, loved ones are going through. There's been a few people pass in my family and with friends. And this time of year obviously is about that, associated with grief and letting go and moving on, and we're thinking of the death and the vow. My brother-in-law had spoken about this at the weekend, and I've been thinking about, okay, what he'd said and how people perceive that which is beyond the realms, and messages from loved ones. Now, I, for one, I told my kids when their grandma passed that, think of it like the candle and the wax. The candle doesn't disappear. It transforms into the flame, the energy. And that's what happens with Grandma. She's not in the physical form that we perceived her as, but she's still, her essence is transformed into something else. And then you go into religions and beliefs and what people think. But that was how I kind of described it, because energy is everlasting. So I've joked about this, and I've alluded to this and spoken about this with my members before, about how with my connection to my mum, she will always speak to me in music. So I will get the thought form, an attachment, because that was when she was in her highest frequency of words, and then the lyrics will be like a conversation. Now you could say that you are giving meaning to that. That's one, and a permission slip to do so. Or you could say that that is how people are speaking. Actually, it's a choice, and I've always said it's a choice. Whatever gives you more comfort. However, so these songs were playing this morning, and it was making me think of, as I said in my post, a mother's love, of joy, of laughter, of when I play my mum's Nolan Sisters record, and just the songs that were on there, but also the lyrics to this song, because it was about, for those of you who are fans of Watership Down, the death of the rabbit. Oh my God. Who out there hasn't watched it? If you're from America and you've not seen it, because I think it's a British film, I don't know if it was worldwide popular or not, but it was one from my childhood. It was a cartoon about this family of rabbits, for those that don't know, and this one song, this one bit was where this rabbit got and so forth. It was a tear jerker at that moment. Anyway, so that it's, I think it might even be the soundtrack, but that was one of the songs that were coming up. It was saying in the lyrics, "Is it a dream?" And I can't get it up in front of me. I'll try and post them underneath. Perhaps it won't let me post it on Facebook. For some reason, it keeps saying that I'm not allowed to post the lyrics, which I find bizarre. Anyway, that might just be tech stuff. And maybe it's because it's now pushed me to do this live, and this is maybe something that we need to think about. At this time, we are, and we speak of and refer to the time of the thinning of the veil and loved ones. And I want to talk about this because the kids had said about trick-or-treating, and I noticed there's been a lot of saying, oh, this is a dark time, it's negative, it's really, really bad because of that. I'm going to give you my energetical perspective, not from the mind, but from the heart. Traditions, and coming from a background with a very mythological, my father is very, very black and white and gave me one side. My mum was very spiritual, and I'd like to say that that's made me in the middle. So I always want to know, like, with physics and energy and from that point of view, but I also have a deeply profound connection, and have done since small child, of the spiritual essence and that which is what we refer to more in esoterical terms. And me being someone that now speaks, I suppose some would call light language, I call it love language, that resonated more with me because it's about the frequency, the vibration and the sound. It's beyond words, it's even beyond emotion in some regards, although I reference it at the emotion of love, but more in terms of what I deem as unconditional love, the connection of that which is beyond and that which is the divine in reference to that. So in terms of talking about Halloween, I always say I was speaking to like my aunt about this, and I'm a mixture of multiculturalism in all of my backgrounds and my blending, from the Wiccan, the Christian, the Indian, the Hindu, I mean, and then obviously with my training with the Chinese and the Japanese. So I take the best bits of everything, and I always interpret, what does it mean to me, what's the relevance to me, and I hope and encourage others to do the same. Take what resonates, discount what doesn't. I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I'm just sharing as this is a vlogging channel as well, sharing my perspective in the hopes that it might help others with their grief, with their process, with their transformation of their soul and their own path of the walk to what we might stupidly term enlightenment, because I feel that is so much more than what the human concept of the box we put it into. So I'm digressing again. So back to Halloween. And so I was saying, in traditions, that there's some traditions you would set a place for the loved ones that have passed, to remember them. The whole significance of the pumpkin is that you light a way for loved ones to find their way back to you, to be remembered. And the discussion that I was saying, talking with my brother cousin-in-law, brother-in-law, was about spirits and death and this time, and whether like the Day of the Dead and All Hallows Eve and then Diwali, and not having it on the same certain times where they have it in the calendar. And I thought that this had been coming up because I'd been listening to Matthias and Aubrey talk on their podcast, and I know this, but a few years ago it was a big shock to find out that the calendar that we follow is not necessarily what's going on up there? Not necessarily the calendar that is linked. It was made, we call it the Gregorian calendar. Pope Gregory put that in place so many hundreds of years ago, but that wasn't the original. So it's why we have leap years, it's why we do daylight saving, it's because it doesn't actually fit, which is why they do that, because it doesn't actually fit to the actual cosmic calendar. So I'd been more and more following my own calendar, my own cosmic connection to that, and I encourage people to do that because that felt right for me. And also when you terms of astrology and bring in a little bit of that in, when you listen to people like Pam Gregory talks about ships. So it's not that particular day in that particular hour at that particular second, although the numerology of that and the intention behind that can be powerful, and that's a whole other tangent and permission slip. But it's like that energy, you feel it coming in and then you can feel it like going out, so it becomes more potent. So Halloween, Samhain, it means different to lots and lots of people. I'm not sure what that means. I can't do the translation for me at the moment. So connecting with the messages of our loved ones is individual to us. As I said about the candle when I was saying about my grandma's passing, that light, that transformation, that was great for them. And we were watching the Disney's Moana video. We saw that at the cinema with the children. So it was a really good way of like showing them when anyone that's seen the movie, the grandma passes, so they were kind of relating things to what was happening, and this transformation process of things being different and it not being an ending. But for some, their beliefs are different, and others, like that's it. I think that's probably the hardest. It's less comfort. But we talk of laying the place for a loved one, but whether you are doing that for you, for your own comfort, whether you're doing it because you literally are honouring cultural beliefs of how things have been, whether you're dressing up in all of these revelry, which to me is about raising your frequency so that you're not in those lower frequencies, you're in the higher frequencies, so you're laughing at your own shadows, because those aspects are all of us. The light side and the dark are us. We are all of it. We create that, whether you're saying that that's the future version of you, and a future timeline that we become as a humanity, or past, our point of power is in this moment. So there's talking of the vow being thin, and however you are kind of working with this energy, I was seeing this connection and how I relate to my own thought forms coming in of these memories of mum, and her playing these records, or playing her records to me. This song of the Nolan Sisters, this Bright Eyes, and like, which kind of is associated with death. I was seeing it in terms of bright being the light, and eyes being how we see the clarity, the reflection of our reality in the external, and how we perceive that. So for me, I have always said, since my mum's passing, although it was different circumstances, because she was very, very sick, so it was kind of for her an ending of that pain and illness that was happening. I have never felt closer to her since her passing. If the emotion lowers in my frequency when I get to my memories of her, it's as though someone goes like that on the back of my head, my shoulders, and goes, remember, I'm everywhere. because whether you're seeing it through a loved one or you're seeing it through, I know that the multi-aspected higher dimensional beings, or God, Goddess, Jesus, which to me is very or Josh, that which is referred to more as Joshua in remembering his teachings, but because he was an example in my mind of someone who in this physical form was able to transcend and to be connected from all of the realms. He balanced the balance of the masculine and feminine and shows us how to do that. So however you choose to see it, being open and receptive to the highest aspect, it's a reminder to be in the heart of your light. You are the light, bright and clarity. See beyond the shadows that may be showing up for us and integrating our shadow. So that could be the shadow of, I'm not great at this, or I'm not great at that, and I really want to be better at that and become the best authentic me. Or on a really deeper, more profound level, the shadow of what we see as the angels and the demons within us, because they are both us. We are them, and as we create, as we be in balance, as I was expressing to my brother-in-law, I said, you need not fear. And my mum would always say to me, you don't need to fear the dead. It's the living that can hurt you, not the dead. But it's what we give permission, what we give power to, is where there will be opening up for things to be on a negative connotation, or for it to have a negative experience. We, with our focus, give power. So are you giving your power away through the next time? What is it that you are, and where is it when we're going into the Scorpio kind of season, that dark depths of the shadow and the subconscious as a society? Where have we given our power away? I'm not sure what Q means. Little pictures, but they're very pretty. Thank you for listening and being present and bearing witness. So where can you be the light for others? Obviously Diwali is about the light, it's the festival of lights, but think about the light in itself. If it's all bright, you can't see one light. It's in the darkest areas that the light is shining. So in your own shadow, be your own light. Reminder to that. Permission slip for that, for your own sovereignty. It's not me saying that. So when I channel, it's about light and sound and frequency and vibration, but it's beyond the duality. And the information that's coming to my thought forms, that's filtering through my perspective and my own learning and my own experiences as I express what I feel and interpret these codes of light as they integrate within me, is about the symbolism that we are moving beyond that duality, that over the next 600 years, this part of our brain, this hippocampus part, that we have, the right and left brain hemispheres, will start to work differently to allow for these higher frequencies to come in, but to be embodied in the physical, because that part of information, frequency of energy, whether you call it a entity, angel, star being, is not present. It can't be seen at this kind of frequency because it's too high. And if it was to come down and be here present, it just wouldn't work. It would be too much for our bodies. It's why I feel that physically we're being asked to level up, and those that channel, it wasn't that I was told in order to channel you have to eat a certain diet and you have to do a certain thing. What I was told is it will be easier for that frequency connection to be possible when you do that. So for me, I know my body, because I'm holding that as a container, as I'm open to being a vessel of love in expression, to be an anchor for energy and a frequency in this now moment, in this point of time that we are living in, to share as and to demonstrate for my own purpose and mission, I have to level up what I eat. So I have done that. That's part of my journey. I was never ever one that liked eating meat. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. To me, the frequency of it just didn't resonate with me, and that's how I'd felt as a small child. But some need that to be more grounded. To me, root vegetables ground in a similar way, different, but you don't take on the energy of that. So it's all about energy, in my opinion, and I've spoken about that before. I'm not here to say you should do this, you shouldn't do that. It's like you see this sense of the bypassing of, like, if you don't live a certain way or a certain lifestyle or be a certain way, then you won't get to where you need to be in terms of your cultural beliefs. I think that missed the point. Those things, those rituals, those, like setting the table, like lighting the lamp, were to get you in a state, to remind us they were permission slips. They were like signposts in order for us to align our energy so that we weren't open to the negative side of what our other fuller self can become. And that said, that's part of why you have a sacred space, why we do what we do, why I kind of, in my own way, would talk about, just like you would brush your teeth every morning and every evening, it's important to move your body, move your energy, and clear and cleanse that energy. It's not that by not doing that you're therefore not going to be of a high frequency. It's just an aligning, it's a connecting, it's a like plugging in the charger. It's the intention of doing so filtering out. So that visualization process allows us to kind of clear and shake off that energy and remind us that we are totally connected at all times. We are not a body with a soul, we're a soul within this body, is what I've heard spiritual teachers mention. So hopefully, as and if my post is not allowed to go up, that's what that was about. We're talking about the song Bright Eyes, and how songs can be a way of speaking to you. So she would change, or I see it as my mum. It doesn't mean I believe it's my mum actually changing it. It's my own self connecting to the memory of the energy and the essence that was in, and now is completely in non-physical, of what in reality in the 3D world was my mum, biological mum. I have two. I have stepmom as well, who I love too immensely. So we have what it is that we see, we attach that. It might be certain images, it might be words you might be hearing, you might be seeing what you would visually see as an energy. So look for that, look for it with the eyes and the perspective of the light in clarity, bright eyes, and be that light, be the eye of that light on the shadow. And as I've spoken before, in order to aligning that shadow, you need to, without judgment, accept that you are that shadow. You are your own demons. You are that. Therefore, you have the power. And if you want a terminology and you think of it still as something external, and for you, it's no, there's definitely energies of others that I experience. For example, if you're going into a home where someone else's energy is very, very much present, and you feel the negative aspects of that. This was kind of things of the discussion of my brother-in-law, how that energy is like a remnant. If you feel it's like, again, clearing. But you can also say, like we were doing in class not so long ago, I think it's not just on the member site, I think I put it public. I think this was back in September in some of our morning classes when we were doing them. I was saying to visualize, or what I was being guided to say is visualize all the circles, like little circles of light. So you're not against, it's not like light against dark in a contrasting, battling fashion. It's allowing that shadow to be transmuted. So see any of those shadowy essences going through portals of light to shift, to transform, to evolve in their own way, in the highest form, in what needs to be grounded, what needs to be shifted, and feel the connection to that which is you in its deepest form, present. In fact, let's just do a little tool visualization technique, whatever you want to call it, where you are grounding. So imagine the energy through your feet coming down in nature, grounding in your shadow. It's handy to have a crystal. You don't have to have a crystal. I keep one of each, light and dark. I do not fear what the dark, for I feel like I am light. The dark in me is present just as much as the light. We are the yin, the yang, in that sense. But I do not fear fear. To me, that's just there to keep me safe. So grounding in and thinking of the dark like the earth, the energy of the ground, going down in the roots. And what's beautiful about this time of year where I am in the Northern Hemisphere is all the leaves are shedding and they're falling off. They're turning, they're dissolving into the nutrients and what becomes the nutrients of the next season. And the next season of you, as we move into what is essentially like Christmas in one culture, it's about the new year in another. For some, it's a season of what they see as a shadow and a dark time. Whatever it means to you, I want you to focus on the light of your heart and the love in your heart that you have for maybe loved ones that passed, present. Let go of fear and just see a moment of joy. So, for example, I can see my mum enjoying her grandchildren, or those that have passed, my aunt and her beautiful smile that I can honestly say I never ever saw her without a smile. She was embodiment of joy. So it doesn't mean she didn't have times where she didn't smile. I'm sure she did. But that's the frequency, that's how I remember, that's the resonance that I feel of those people. And so that's what I draw to me. That's where my focus is when I speak of the messages that come through. And saying to yourself, I'm open and receptive for the highest aspect and evolution of my soul. I'm able to see clearly through the light of love any messages that need to come to me. Now it might be like Carl Gray would say, like, thank you angels for reminding me of your presence, when he sees feathers on the floor, and I get the kids to see the same and say, look, grandma's saying love you. Just every time I see a feather, that's become the significance. Like some people with their magpies, which are generally messages as well. One for sorrow, two for joy. I'm like, okay, if it's one, then I need to lift up my frequency, and I see the warning, and thank you for the warning of where I'm at, where my emotions are at, what I'm attracting to me, and thank you for the blessings. So being thankful for those contrasting moments, the sad moments, because they remind us how much we were attached to that, how much we loved that, and how much we were when we were with that frequency of that person flowing that love to us. It's that detachment from source that makes it feel so bad, because we were flowing through source, because we were remembering and we're connecting with that attraction, and then that's gone and we're reminded of what we lack. and what's lost, but it's not lost when you are in your heart space, which is why since my mum's death I've never felt more loved than when I think of her through thought form. So whoever it is, feel that. Maybe it's just a metaphorical mother's love. Maybe you never knew your mum, or you never knew the person that had passed, or the mother or the grandmother spirit, or the spirit of Gaia and the earthly energies, but feeling grounded in this moment. The birds are very vocal. Again, speaking to us through nature, through, like I say, leaves falling in front, shapes, images. It may be through meditation you see more. It may be memories of past lives that are giving you that information that you need to know, and the thought form and frequency of what is relevant. Trusting. Crows. In our family it's robins, often butterflies, and what's the other symbol? Dragonflies. It's loads. Can you hear that in the background? There's a load of crows just appeared through nature. So whatever symbol's coming through, it's already some relevance. I will pull some cards as well in a minute, but saying thank you. I hear you. I see you. I see what needs to be seen. I acknowledge what needs to be acknowledged. And I'm thankful for the blessings and the wise, the wisdom that's within me, within me, because it's not coming from me. It's coming from your awareness, your connection to whatever it is you're calling in. But let it be with the intention of that highest awareness of what do I need to know. Now, if you're feeling like, rather than I said that it's kind of negative, there's something that it's not marrying up in alignment with my frequency, you say, I do not give permission for that to be in my remit. Wherever I am is only love, is only wisdom and knowledge. But I do not fear, because that drops us to that lower connection. That which is showing instead, I see that which I need to see. I acknowledge that which I need to acknowledge. And I'm grateful. I allow it to be cleared and transmuted. Thank you for your time, your understanding, for being in my subconscious mind, for coming to the surface. Thank you for the messages from loved ones. Thank you for the love. And thank you for the shadow, showing me where the light is. I let go of my judgment of that. Instead, see from high perspective that all is relevant. That even, in a sense, the energy of what we perceive as dark could be fearful for it need not be there. When we become in unity, it wouldn't cease to exist, and that fear is maybe what drives that. Instead, see it evolving, transmuting, changing of purpose. Okay, now I invite you for the next few minutes as I connect to the fullness that is the light and sound codes of coming through me, just to connect to your own. It may be thoughts, feelings, emotions. You might want to write some down. You might want to just sit and breathe and allow the kind of the mirror of what is, allow it to reflect in your own subconscious of what's right for you. tora ki hane kurukumai turukumai. E shuru mayeta tikia hata. E turu mayeta yurukum bekiaya. Ikurukumai ki hete. Heti urukurukum baki kurukum. E kurukumai te tia lurukum bie. Piem yurukuma. Ikurukuma. E te la no shukuma kiki ala. E hete heti a ni ahata. E shurumai kai yurumakieta. Kahahane te o moko. Ehe turum. I kurumai tai shurumba. E na hahanete. Ehe ti hahanetu. Mi kurulumaleka. Mi kurululalukum e. I kuruma yaturuma kaita. Esturumbaiki lakto urkumaka. E shurukolo kumakia lata. Just breathe in that which is the fullness of you in your own heart. Let go of what mind wants to make of. And just be present with yourself. Ikurukum biata turulukum. Elahane turu bayatiraka. Etani turukum bayita. Ekai turukumai. Elanana. Ekayurukurukum bata. Isa turu mayana tanurumata. I honor my future, past, present, in time and out. Ekurukum bira tatirakurukum. Ea natana shira, anchoring in the wisdom. Iturukula kia tania tai. I ananana kia urukuma giala. Without judgment of ancestors. I anuru maya titi alushkuro. E ala past, present, future. E henurun mea latanaku. And hold. I kurumaki anchor. E anunu mea tanikurum. I kanunu mea natanakiala. Between. I anuru kumaya ta. E kurumaya taniala. E naiurumaya te e kuru. Ukurumaya. Tiana, hiete akakiyama, ekururuma hete yakaya, iana hete, ihia makahala hete, imakahala hete, ehesanunum, ekiahana kiana kia. Esanumona ki, Isanumona ki, Ukoma enaekia, anayuru madaita, toro kuma me Just bear witness to where you are, what you're feeling, what you see, what clarity is coming to you, what thought forms are present. Remembering you are safe at all times. You are loved beyond measure. Accepting all sides of yourself, the mirrors throughout time. And the totem of the heart is with you. Slowly in your own time, bringing your focus, your awareness back to this moment, bringing with it the feel of anchored safety, security, that it's safe to see beyond. The light will show the shadow, and the shadow is not anything to be feared. Just to be seen, possibly acknowledged, and allowed to go through that little portals that I spoke of, through the circles, however you want to do this for yourself, however you want to honour this, however you want to remember that which is maybe from, in this point of time, what's perceived as past, and also future. Thank you for bearing witness for you, to all that is present. Look out for the messages, listen to the songs, see the birds, or hear the colours and the patterns. Allow your senses to go beyond. Thank you for your time. I want to slowly bring us back, because I was quite deep, and just taking another, come up another notch, another level. As you're bringing your focus back to your body, just kind of rubbing the hands together. Slowly open the eyes. And surround sweeping off any excess energies. And that's what this visualization is about, for you to connect without judgment, to release, to let go, was what I was asking for our meditation today, and was more about what we were speaking of before. But I will finish by pulling a card for what we were referencing. Which ones? Feels like I want the ancestor one. Definitely felt that kind of vibe going on, is how I related to what was coming through in thought form. So any message, using this as a tool and a permission slip, what do we need to know for today, for this week, for Samhain? One. Magic Guardian, unlock the magic within. Standing in power. Be brave, be honest. The Knight, Templar, the Order of the Rose. And Summer. Bask in joy and light. That's what this time is about. People say it's about the dark, but it's about the light. It's about being the light in the dark. Literally, that one I think is most relevant. And the frequency, the resonance of bees, the honey, the collective. So the first one I pulled here, the Magic Guardian. Know that you are magical in a sense. Magic is just the science that we haven't yet unravelled in our sort of modern terms. It's understanding the alchemy of the soul. It's going into the vow. It's the portals within our body, those connections. It's the sacred geometry of that which is what we see as the reality. I'm also seeing with this one, with the Knights, this is also our understanding. So be brave and honest about what are the roots of some of these cultural religions and beliefs, and where they come from. It's time to see beyond, because everything comes through the perspective. Even when I'm telling, obviously, it's just hearing the sounds will resonate for you, but as it comes through me, it comes through my own experiences too. I've always been told not to interpret this means that, because it's more than that, and it will mean different sound, frequency, vibration will mean different things to different people. It will hit each of those frequencies of those that are listening in a different way and have a different meaning. So it has a multitude, because it's like a package of information. It's not a person speaking a thing. It's so much more than that. It's beyond language. It's I suppose, a prelude to telepathy, but it's the part of us that's beyond. It's the frequency. It's the creation. The essence of language beyond speaking. So being brave and honest about where things are coming from. The Rose and the Order of the Rose, there's going to be more information coming up for that. There, as above, so below, like the cross, meaning throughout all of the cultures. But to me, he's holding his sword, he's sleeping in this picture, and it's about that which is sleeping in our subconscious. We need to be brave to see, to acknowledge it, in order to see it, to heal it, is what they know, to feel it, to heal it. Yeah, I think it's about everything, like unlocking what is coming up in reality, what we're scared of, because the more we put a focus on, the more you give fears. It's like in some program, I can't remember when I was watching it, was like, oh my god, this monster was attacking in some sci-fi thing, but it wasn't the monster was coming, being manifest from the fears. And our reality is manifest from our fears. We have to take responsibility for how we've created that. And I know that some of that is from hereditary, from like not billions, some of it, from thousands of years ago. So we're unpacking that, but we can clear it so quickly right now with energetically what's there. That's the unlocking that magic within. We have the power for that alchemistic, they say water to gold, but it's the energy of the frequency that's shifting for those things that we refer to as the shadow within us, to see them differently, to change our perspective, to see it from higher, the 360 degrees, rather than I'm changing from this belief to this belief, the 180. Instead, and what's the beautiful example that I heard Matthias Stefano say about, it's someone that is a scientist finding religion, 180, or someone that is religious finding science. Now, the 360 degrees of that, you might think of that as a polarity, is that one that is driven by the faith to have and look through in the science sees the bigger picture, sees the more than, sees that both are relevant, and is both but one. So that's what I mean. It's polarity becoming collective for all of us. And this is hard when you look at the news. There's so much going on. I think, God, scary stuff out there. But we want to go beyond that with all of the things that are happening. And that's hard to do sometimes. And the only way I can see it is the micro in the macro, is if we take responsibility for how we are, that has a ripple effect on the collective and how the collective be. When you're seeing more and more people with anger and fear, if you look at Abraham Hicks's The Emotional Scale, you don't want to stay in that. You want to move beyond it. Like, you go up the emotional scale. In order to do that, we've got to go through that. So not get stuck there and not allow that. And that's what I mean by the cleansing, not allowing that other's energy to do that. But so when it hits our filter, our shield, when it bounces back off, it's not bouncing back off in more fear out that we're sending out, that by hitting our frequency it shifts, it changes, because it's like striking a tuning fork for each of us that are tuning forks of love in the world. Be that light, be that tuning fork, and connect with your loved ones. See what you're hearing. If you want to see it that way, or if you want to see it as the frequency of all that is there for you, set your place for them, light the candles for Diwali and Christmas. So happy Christmas, happy Samhain, and what's the other thing for this time we've got going on? Oh, and All Saints Day. However it is that you utilise these practices, these sacred times of solstices, come back to the balance of the light and the dark, and be beyond what is light and dark. And thank you for your time. Put on a grid. I think my whole life is a grid. Yeah, I think of it, I don't say speaking in tongues. My friend says it's speaking in tongues. She says that's how the church, I believe, call it. To me, it's love language, light language. It's energy in high frequency of that which is the fullness of myself, is kind of how I said it. And when I had to get my head around when it first was coming through, because I was like, why am I not channeling words? I'm not channeling a kind of entity or a being, because that's not me, because that would be me giving up power. Instead, I wanted to tune to the wholeness of me, which is the wholeness of you and the wholeness of all of us, which is the vibration, the language of the world. It comes through in what is still our experiences, and I'm kind of a marrying of the both, I guess. So that's how I had it. So let me try and catch these disappear afterwards, and I can never go back. I'm not sure what kum means, or what that, I don't know emojis, so I'm not sure what that means. Stand up and see. I'm not quite sure what that's about either. But see, people put their own perceptions onto, especially when people are kind of on social media. Representing what? It's from channels. Obviously that person's having a hard time.
Yeah, I know. I do post these for my members later, so it doesn't matter whether anyone's live with me or not. I don't know. What this person was obviously hearing, quite triggered by what I was speaking. Actually, people have wait, so someone's obviously name calling here, when they feel their need for protection. So I relate to that. Brand. Oh wow, that person's obviously quite in a deep space of what their ego. One of the things I was speaking about in the post that I mentioned in the beginning was, I know, I just laugh it off because I realise that everyone's going to have their own perceptions. I don't let it trigger me, to be honest. It got triggered, when was the other day? Because someone was saying, what's this said about? Got annoyed because I had jeans on when I was working out. And I said, it's not working out. Qigong's about low and steady states. So it's not like you're doing a HIIT session. And I think they thought my channel was an exercise channel. And maybe they'd seen my Qigong videos, so that's what their perception. And because I don't fit in a box, we do card readings, I do channeling, I do Qigong, I do workshops, and lots, and I'm an artist as well. So I don't fit in artist, channeler, card reader. I'm all of the above and none of the above. So I'm not in a box. You can't, and that kind of actually makes people question what, because they have to think about what they're seeing and then relate to what this frequency, what's it saying to me, and that can be quite triggering if someone is got very, very strong beliefs about a certain thing, and I'm saying, hey, let go of the ego of what that is. It's not me, I don't really care. So what I do care about is people looking within and connecting with their own power and taking that power back, not giving it away to, I'm going to follow this person because they're telling me this. I don't want to be anyone's guru, and I don't tend to want to be. I hope that I share and show my own authentic journey, and what's right for me may not be right for them. So, and that's fine, that's good. Everyone's going to be different. So basking in our light is knowing that we have a shadow. So yeah, that was interesting. So reading through the comments, I was thinking, why bother? I was like, well, I think people follow for one reason. And then I had a load of people following me, I think because I did a thing on sacred sexuality. For a while there was a load of men that were following, and like when I ended the exercise visit, because in Qigong we shake, so these pervs were just, and I was like, why am I attracting this? And I thought, actually, because for me, I've got no judgment, I don't feel objectified by it, but I do feel like I need to call them out on it, which I did. Of course that didn't. I was like, okay, well, you're here for a reason, because everything is, there are no mistakes, and actually this is about check that ego. So that would be my thing, is if you're feeling that, that's because that's what's reflecting from you, not from me. So, and not able to receive the love that is universal for all of us. So have a beautiful week, guys. I'm going to leave it at that. This is kind of a combination of Meditation Monday and a vlog and a card reading for the week. Again, so not a video that fits into any of the algorithms, but hey, that's me. I hope you enjoy this week. Here in the UK, we've got like holidays going on and lots of Halloween-y fun things. So yeah, the ego me would like, well, have some vegan stuff out for the vegans out there and for those diabetics out there, or maybe make some nice soft treats. Kids might not like that, but now and again a little bit isn't too bad. But yeah, sugar would be my worry for this time of year. Instead, get out and have, like we did, a lovely, wonderful autumn walk yesterday. I'm a big fan of English Heritage and Natural Trust, and here it's beautiful. So many properties here in the UK that you can go see. Go support something like that. Go just for a walk in your local woods, your local park. Get out and see nature and see how it's dissolving.
and take a leaf out of nature's book, that the nutrients, the crap in your life is going to be what becomes the fuel that becomes the transformation and the growth for you. It's what helps us shift, what we grow from, what we evolve from. Take care. Thank you for your time.